What's up, guys? It's the Sugar and Coffee special here on Temperamental. Not because it's the anniversary of the sketch or anything, but just because I wanna. Good morning!
It's time for Sugar and Coffee! With Buzz! And Taffy!
Good morning! Yeah, good morning, yes! Yes! Oh, yeah! Baby! I'm Buzz! I'm Cappy! It's true! Thank you! Good morning! Hi!
Okay, so you guys have been loving my All That stories, and guess what? I have 1,000 of them. And I know it's sometimes kind of a stigma that, like, former child actors don't like talking about the shows they did a million years ago. Oh, but I'm the opposite. I love talking about All That whenever I get the chance. It was like the 4 best years of my life. I seriously just had a blast every single day. And if you could just move, Kevin, my cat, can you leave, please? You're blocking Kyle Sullivan. Knew this was going to happen. Okay, so it doesn't feel right doing a Sugar and Coffee special without Kyle Sullivan, my old co-host from All That. He was my cast member. He was always with me. He was Buzz. I was Caffey during every Sugar and Coffee sketch. And so I have a picture of him set up in my chair. And of course, Kevin's blocking him because he's an attention hog and so disrespectful. But anyway, so here's how I'm going to start this Sugar and Coffee special. I'm so excited. Guess what I found? Where'd I put it? It's over here. Okay. I found my actual jacket from the sketch. Okay, just real quick, anybody who's listening to this, I know you guys like to listen to podcasts. What's that all about? You guys like to listen to podcasts on Spotify and all the things, but if you could watch it on Spotify or like watch it on YouTube, those are the 2 places the videos go, I suggest that you do, because I'm going to be wearing the Sugar and Coffee costume. I'm going to be talking about the sketch. I'm going to be showing clips, reacting to the clips. So good for you for listening. Thank you so much. But also, like, for this particular episode, I suggest get in the video. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna try on this jacket. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Already, this is not my jacket. This is one that was made for either a stunt double of mine for the sketch, or there was a cold open where like a really big dude doubled as me, and they were like, look, it's Lisa, the resemblance is uncanny, and it just like looked absolutely nothing like me. I think this was maybe the jacket he was wearing, but guess what? I do have the other one, so let me try that one, because this one's way too big. Thank you for leaving, Kevin. Appreciate you. Appreciate you more when you're gone. All right, so this was in a Ziploc bag upstairs in my closet. Oh yeah, this is the real one. This is the real Caffey jacket because it's got the shoulder pads. Okay, here we go. Oh, this feels right. Oh, this feels right. My arms are much longer now. Dang. Oh, it even has the same smell after all these years. This is crazy. All right, yeah, so this is one of the original Caffey jackets. There was multiple because we got so messy during the sketch. And that's a fun fact about filming, is that usually if you film a show where people get really, really messy, or like, you know, some kind of mess is gonna happen, there's like multiple versions of the wardrobe. You have many copies so that you can just like, if you did the messy scene and then something went wrong, you can like quickly switch out the clothes. So as you can imagine, Sugar and Coffee was a very messy sketch. And real quick, for those who know me from other things, not All That, let me just quickly explain that Sugar and Coffee was probably my most popular sketch on the show All That on Nickelodeon that I was on for 4 years. And it was like Saturday Night Live for kids, if you're not familiar with it. And I would say my top 2 sketches that people love the most, probably Sugar and Coffee and Slumber Party, where I played Claudia the Goth.
A guy tried to kiss me once. I bit his face.
Which was very funny because it was completely opposite of my personality at the time. Like, I was a very, like, innocent little happy child. So I think that was like really fun for the writers and Dan at the time to be like, hey, let's take this really, really happy-go-lucky child and turn her evil. And I loved it. And I've talked about this before, but I think the fact that I was able to take home a lot of those Claudia outfits at the end of the season, I think that's what then turned me into like a real goth. I had my goth years. And I think it's because it's like I turned into a goth because I had the wardrobe. And then I started listening to music and I got hooked on that. But anyway, this is not about Slumber Party. This is about Sugar and Coffee. And I'm tempted, you know what, I'm gonna unbutton it because I think it's definitely really small. But look, Kyle. Hey Kyle, look, I got the Caffey jacket on. I wish you were here. Kyle Sullivan, I miss you so much. I haven't talked to you in like 15 years or something stupid like that. But he and I were besties. He and I were really, really good friends, and I miss him terribly. And again, you can't see him because my cat is sitting in front of his picture. Great. Awesome. Trying to have a sentimental moment. And Kevin's like, here comes me.
Here comes me.
Good. Bro, ruining it. Okay, let me just... This is Kyle, and he was the only experienced actor on the set of All That when we all joined the show because he is from Malcolm in the Middle. You probably remember him from Malcolm in the Middle. I'm gonna put him back. Oh my gosh, Kevin, just ready and willing to ruin everything. So yeah, let me start with the history of Sugar and Coffee a little bit. We all joined All That after they did like a big nationwide search for a brand new cast of kids. If you remember All That, it was Keenan and Kel and Amanda Bynes, Josh Server, Lori Beth Denberg, Danny Tamborelli, just Nick Cannon, just all of these heavy hitters of kids comedy. And they were big fills to shoe. Great, awesome, yes, killing it. Big shoes to fill. So they hired 7 new kids for the brand new cast of All That for season 7. And I was one of those kids. I was super excited because I had grown up being obsessed with the show. Total dream come true. And we get on the set, and Kyle's like the only one who knows what he's doing. And the rest of us were complete amateurs to acting. And, we're all just kind of naturally funny kids, but just new to the whole environment of being on a set, being on a show, that whole thing. So they put us through like a 3-day workshop. And in the past, in interviews, I've called it a boot camp, but that's not what it was. That's a very aggressive term for what it was. It was the coolest, just 3-day little workshop where all of us could get to know each other, practice comedy exercises, improv exercises, go over some sketches, just try out some stuff and get to know each other as a team. And I've never had that experience with any other show I've been on, and I really appreciated it. And I was really glad that Dan and the writers set that up. Because there was also a lot of like, hey, the audience really likes the old cast, so they're going to hate you. So let's do all we can to make sure they don't completely hate you because we like ratings. And yeah, we did take a little heat from the really loyal fans of the original cast, but we also garnered our own fans for our own seasons. And that's probably a lot of you who are watching right now, and I thank you for that because we were all fans of the original cast as well, and we got the opportunity and we stepped up and we just lived our dream on Nickelodeon, and had tons and tons of fans of our own. I remember the first time I got to be in a digital video game on the Nickelodeon website on nick.com. They had like little games you could play, and one of them was like, I don't even remember what it was. It's some kind of like trivia game with the cast of All That, and then if you got it wrong, you like dunked a character in like a vat of slime or something. And I was one of the characters, and I loved playing that. I was like, look at me, I'm drowning in slime. This is awesome. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, get out of here, Kevin. Oh, Kyle's back. So, during this 3-day workshop, I'm going to call it a workshop, they had each of us, me, Giovanni, Chelsea, Jack, Shane, Brian, Kyle. Can you guys not hiss and fight while I'm in the middle of a story? Thanks. And they put us all in pairs, and they had us That was everybody, right? 5, 6, yeah. They had us all try out different sketches. One of them was Shady Airlines, which ended up being the first sketch we ever filmed, and the other one was Sugar and Coffee. At the time, it was called Coffee and Sugar. I vividly remember this, don't know why, but it was called Coffee and Sugar. And they had Chelsea and Jack try it out, and then they had, I think, like Brian and Gio, and maybe Brian and or Shane and Gio do it, but Kyle and I were always a duo on it. They always put me and Kyle together during the workshop for the Sugar and Coffee sketch, which was called Coffee and Sugar. Oh, great. Now the other Kevin is here blocking Kyle's picture. Kyle, if you ever see this, I'm so sorry that my cats are so disrespectful. Anyway, so in this little boot camp, we all got to see each other play Buzz and Kathy, the lead characters of the sketch Sugar and Coffee. And it was interesting because everybody had their own take, you know? Chelsea was a different Kathy than I was. Gio was a different Kathy than I was. Jack was an entirely different Buzz than Kyle was. Like, everybody just had their own take on it, which was really cool to see that, because everyone was good. But ultimately, the writers ended up choosing me and Kyle to be Buzz and Kathy on Sugar and Coffee. I was not surprised by this because I was just a very naturally hyper child.
So, Kathy.
Yeah?
How was your weekend?
It was awesome. I went to the supermarket.
What'd you buy?
I bought 25 gallons of coffee.
Yeah, what else?
45 pounds of sugar.
Very, very hyper child. So that's how it started. And then we filmed the first Sugar and Coffee. And I'm going to answer the question that has been asked to me upwards of 1,000 times, probably just so many times. People have asked me this. Was the coffee real and was the sugar real? I'm just going to really quickly show a clip of us eating the sugar and the coffee out of the giant orbs that hung from the top of the set. So, what? Excuse me? Not now. Fight on your own time. Do not fight on podcast time. Riley, can you please come protect the set? Thank you. Security guard dog is here to keep cats from fighting on my set ever again. Thank you. Computer, I don't need this from you too. So anyway, the sugar in Sugar and Coffee was real. Yes, I constantly get this question. Was the sugar real? Yes. And I always thought, what else would it be? Salt? Sand? I can't think of another consistency equal to something with the consistency of sugar that would not be sugar, that would be better than sugar, if that makes sense. What else could we eat that's better than sugar? So yes, it was real sugar. And I choked on it every single time except for the last time we filmed. And that's only my fault. Everybody on set was so sweet. You had Beth, you had Ian, you had Terry, you had Michael Johnson, you had like all of these wonderful people who worked on the set of all that in the crew. Just, I'm telling you, best environment ever. Everybody was friends, everybody was cool. They protected me, I felt safe at all times. It was an awesome place to be as a child actor. And so we'd go under the orbs and we'd open them up and the sugar would come down, and I always went to the sugar first, and it just filled up my mouth, and then I just started choking, and they had to say, "Hold, please, hold." And they cut the cameras, and they waited for Lisa to recover from her choking, just and then once I was better, we resumed filming. And so many times, they would be like, "Can't you just close off your throat so that it just kind of piles up in your mouth and spills over and you don't choke on it?" And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about because I'm 14 and I'm stupid." So many people tried to tell me to do that, and it just did not register at all. And the coffee, let's talk about the coffee. The coffee was not real coffee, obviously. Why you gonna give 13 and 14-year-olds coffee? Not a good idea. And you don't have to. The first season it was flat Coca-Cola. It was just Coca-Cola that had been sitting out. It wasn't fizzy anymore. It was not carbonated. It was just flat Coca-Cola. And the problem with this is that, and I have an outtake for this, Kyle went to the coffee first, and then he went to the sugar. the orbs. We had giant orbs. Again, you should watch this instead of just listen because I have the video of it. But we had giant orbs. One was made of coffee. One was sugar. We go under the orbs. We open them up and we just guzzle them down because we're addicts. We're addicted to sugar and coffee. That's the whole basis of the sketch. We eat so much sugar, so much coffee. We bring on guests. We terrify them with our hyperactivity, and then they leave, scared of us. So I went to the sugar first, and then I would eat the sugar. And then I'd go over to the flat Coca-Cola. And the Coca-Cola washed off the sugar. So then I was fairly clean after I did that. Still covered in Coke and sugar, but just like not as bad. I kind of felt like the Coke kind of gave me a shower. But poor Kyle, you can, attest to this? Yes. Kyle went to the flat Coca-Cola first, and then he went over to the sugar. And the mixture of that created the most just ungodly chemical something slime. Oh my God. Because he got himself covered in the liquid of the Coke and then went to the sugar just stuck to the Coke and then just created this like horrible goop. Some kind of like flubber type of consistency. Oh my gosh, it was so gross. And he just would drool it. It would just drool. It just drip out of his mouth. And it was so gross. And I have a blooper of it.
How much fun was that? On a scale of 1 to 10, we'll give it a...
But then season 8, they decided to not do Coca-Cola anymore, and we did just water, just colored water. And that was much nicer. But anyway, okay, hold on. I have my notes. Let me grab. Okay. All right. I wrote down notes because I'm prepared and I'm a professional. So there are some memorable moments from the sugar and coffee sketches that just come to me right off the top of my head. And then there's a bunch that I had to look up. I spent an hour this morning just looking up sugar and coffee sketches and laughing hysterically. Not only because the writing is so good, but also just because they all sparked memories. And, of course, I was there when we filmed it, and just the best times. It's kind of like going back and watching old videos of you from high school and just laughing. Okay, so the first one here, I'm not sure if this was not the first All That Sugar and Coffee sketch that aired, because the first one was Frankie Muniz.
Okay, next we have a very special guest! Extremely special! You know him from Malcolm in the Middle! Frankie Muniz! Frankie Muniz, what you doing, Frankie Muniz?
Well,
You started on a TV show! And I've seen it! On TV! So what's it like having you on a TV show? Tell us! Hurry, Tom! Say some words!
Well, I really enjoy being on TV because I get to do all this.
Have some sugar! Have some coffee!
No thanks, my mom doesn't allow me to have sugar or coffee.
Is your mom here? Is she?
No?
Then let's do it!
So Frankie Muniz was our very first ever guest star of our little pilot episode. The opening sketch was him running around town trying to find a new cast of All That. And I remember he pulled me out of a car and found Jack in a dumpster and all just random stuff, which was funny because Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle, you probably know that, guest starred on All That. And then also I got to guest star on Malcolm in the Middle playing female Malcolm. So I got to play the female version of Frankie after I had already known him from being on my show. Super cool. Small world, right? So this was actually one of the first sugar and coffee sketches that came to mind. And is when we had a fireman and we had Giovanni as an old lady. And so I'll play a little bit of that right now.
Well, I'm here to talk about fire safety and the various precautions.
I bet fires are hot! Hot? Are they hot? Tell us! Come on!
Yes. Fires are, in fact, hot.
Yes, I know it!
I bet fires are hot. Yeah, very nice. So if there's any Always Sunny in Philadelphia fans out there, you should recognize this guy as the waiter.
Why do you look familiar to me?
I'm the waiter you didn't tip earlier.
Yeah, when you're not gonna get tipped again with that attitude.
Yeah, so his name is Michael Naughton, I believe. I'm saying that right, Michael Naughton. So he's a fireman on my show, and I also remember him from remember that classic YouTube video where it's a parody on David Blaine. And David Blaine just like keeps showing up and harassing these two guys by doing magic, and they don't want him to do magic, and they're freaked out by him. That he was one of the guys in that, which is super funny because, again, I talk about this a lot, how we have these amazing musical guests and guest stars on All That I didn't really know at the time, and then I grew up and realized who they were and wished I would have cared more at the time. I mean, obviously I was respectful and nice to everybody who came on the show, but I didn't quite know who they were. Remember I told the P. Diddy story about how P. Diddy was on the show and I didn't really know who he was, and then years later I'm like, oh my gosh, Puff Daddy, like what? But yeah, so Michael Naughton was the fireman on All That in the Sugar and Coffee sketch. And gosh, I hope I can run into him again to be like, I didn't really know who you were at the time. I'm a big fan now. I love Always Sunny. And he's done a million other things, but that had to have been kind of earlier on a little bit in his career, maybe? So I'd love to hear from him, his experience with that. And then, of course, Giovanni was very effective as like just a little frail old lady. And we just tackled both of them and made them eat Sugar and Coffee as we do. First of all, I don't drink coffee. It's disgusting dirt water, in my opinion. I have a huge sensitivity to caffeine in real life. I cannot drink caffeine almost ever. If I drink even one sip of a caffeinated beverage after 1 p.m., I will not sleep at all that night. It's crazy. If I drink any kind of coffee early in the morning, I just feel a little tired instantly after I drink it. And then I feel like I want to vomit for about 3 hours.
I'm gonna puke.
And I just have horrible stomach pains. Yeah, and then I'm like really, really alert, but like shaky alert for the rest of the day in a very uncomfortable, horrible state. And that's what coffee does to me. And that's why me and coffee don't really get along, which is very hysterical that I was famously on a sketch called Sugar and Coffee where I drank a lot of coffee. In fact, I have this here. This is almost like a recreation of the giant coffee mug that we would drink out of. We had them, I think ours were like see-through though, so that you could see how much liquid is in them. But we'd sit at our little coffee table and like rapidly drink from the thing, like, here's your host, Buzz. And he'd go, yeah, and caffeine. And I'd be like, yeah, 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 yeah. Like just some kind of battle cry. What was the Lucy Lawless? The Xena. It's like a Xena warrior princess, like, yeah, 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 yeah. Like some kind of crazy sound. But yeah, just like drinking from these giant mugs and it's spilling everywhere. And oh my gosh, that's so funny. Wearing the jacket and holding the giant mug of coffee is a little sentimental. That's so funny. Okay, moving on. So, Tom Green, I got to talk about this. So Tom Green was on an episode of All That, and it wasn't Sugar and Coffee initially. Tom Green was on a sketch called Slumber Party, and I will show you a clip of that right now.
Wow, it's professional comedian Tom Green.
That's right. I'm a professional comedian, but I'm also a mummy.
So Tom Green was the only guest star we ever had that made me break character. He was the only one. So I was like height of career, like Tom Green is, everybody knows Tom Green at this point in his career. And I think he drank like 6 Red Bulls the day he came to film at All That with us on Nickelodeon. I remember that he just like went through them. We just kept seeing him throw away Red Bull can after Red Bull can. That dude was hopped up on some caffeine. Maybe that was his secret. I don't know. But he was super funny in the Slumber Party sketch. But I guess, and I don't know how true this is, but this is what I was told. I was told by the writers that Tom Green found out that there was a sketch called Sugar and Coffee on All That, where we were just hyperactive and out of control and drank sugar and coffee and went insane. And he went, that's the sketch I want to be on. So then we brought him back like the next week. And he wasn't even really like a proper guest on Sugar and Coffee. He just kind of ran out.
Ladies and gentlemen, sugar and coffee lover, Tom Green!
And started eating all the sugar and drinking all the coffee, and just going crazy. So that was very funny. Then another memorable one was the anniversary special. You know, I talked earlier about how much we loved and respected the original cast of all that. And so when we hit 10 years at season 10, we did a big anniversary special, and we did a massive sketch that combined a bunch of the classic characters that you guys all know and love. You know, Coach Cretin, Principal Pimpel, I'm Detective Dan, like everybody.
Perhaps you're the burglar.
Are you insinuating that I had
I guess that wraps up the case of the sticky kangaroo.
I'm not familiar with a kangaroo, much less one that is sticky.
I'm back, okay? And I brought you what you asked for.
What?
But just to be in a sketch with these classic comedians from my childhood, like that meant so much to me. Another episode was when the orbs weren't working and we had panic attacks.
The sugar's not working.
Nor is the coffee.
This is bad, Cabby.
Real bad, Buzz. What are we gonna do?
I don't know. You okay?
Yeah, I'll be fine. I just need a quiet place to sit and a book to read.
Losing her!
Another one was when our parents came on the show and tried to reason with us, and I remember they did such a good job casting our mom and dad because they legit like looked like us.
Kids, we need to talk to you two.
We think this whole sugar and coffee thing has gotten a little out of control.
What do you mean out of control?
I'm not out of control, Buzz. Are you out of control?
I'm not out of control. Are you out of control?
I'm not out of control.
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 I think my mom in Sugar and Coffee looked more like me than my mom in real life looked like. And she was awesome. They were such good sports. Every single person that came on Sugar and Coffee that we just like assaulted with sugar and flat Coca-Cola was totally down to do it. Such good sports. Nobody ever complained. And we all just had a good time. From what I remember. Honestly, I just had the best time. And then, so talking about the jacket I was wearing before that was way too big. I'm not sure this is the jacket from this sketch I'm about to show you because, gosh, it just seems like it would have been bigger. You'll know what I mean when I show you. Anyway, so we did these cold open sketches at the beginning of the show. And one particular cold open was like, Lisa's sick and she can't do Sugar and Coffee. What should we do?
Hey, I heard Lisa's sick.
Really sick.
Oh, we have a big Sugar and Coffee sketch tonight, and I'm not gonna let her illness ruin it.
Wow, really compassionate, Kyle.
Cough right on Kyle.
You better tell Dan we gotta cancel the sketch.
Cancel it?
All right, hold up.
Okay, they're gonna make another Lisa.
What's all that?
It's the TV show we do.
But I'm.
I mean,
It's
what's
the
all that
TV show we do.
See, with this machine, I can take a sample of Lisa's DNA and use it to create another Lisa.
A sample of my DNA. This seems a little shady.
Take one layer
What are you
from
up to, Denzel?
Drop it into this receptacle, and now we activate the DNA duplication sequence. Look! An exact duplicate of Lisa Foyles.
I think the home viewers will know that's not the real Lisa. How?
Hey guys, the doctor said I. Who is that? Lisa, get out of here!
Oh no, he sees me. Oh God! Down the elevator shaft. Did we kill him?
So we should probably cancel the sketch.
It's fine. I'm sure he survived. He's probably fine. And Anyway, that's really funny. I've not seen that in a long time. Although I do remember filming it, but gosh, that's so funny. Brings back a lot of memories. All right. So then fast forward, Sugar and Coffee, I believe season 10. That was from season 10. It was like Sugar and Coffee on the road. So we weren't on like our yellow set anymore with the big neon sign that said Sugar and Coffee, which, by the way, that big neon sign is up at, I believe, the Nickelodeon Animation Studios in Burbank, California. One time I went to the giant warehouse where they used to house all of the all that props and all the old Nickelodeon props from like every single show. And I believe it was Ne, this awesome dude who worked on every season of my show. He was like, hey, do you want to take home this giant Sugar and Coffee neon sign? And I'm like, and do what with it? Put it in my house? I know the neon doesn't work anymore. Like, what? I'm not going to. No, it was huge. It was massive. Like, I couldn't even fit it in my car. Even if I wanted it, I couldn't transport it. So I was like, no, thank you, but I appreciate it. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so it was like Sugar and Coffee on the road. We went to like hospital and like a science lab. I have a blooper from that. I'll play that right now.
Look I'm like taller than you. You're on your toes.
Yeah.
Get off your toes. No. Stop it.
Yeah.
I think I see the problem, Doctor.
Yes, and I know the perfect medication to prescribe.
Sugar and coffee! Ow! You guys beat me.
So, to wrap up the Sugar and Coffee special here on Temperamental, Lanes of Oil, my favorite moment ever from Sugar and Coffee was when Kenan Thompson was on as Miss Piddlin.
Are you babies on some kind of medication? Well, I love the show. I watch it all the time, and I can tell how much y'all love your Yes, but you children are forgetting about the most important breakfast treat of all. Peas!
Not only was he just a comedic genius and so fun to work with and an absolute dream come true because I used to watch him all the time as a kid, and he's the nicest guy in real life that you could ever meet. At the end of the sketch, we convert him to Sugar and Coffee. He gets us to eat peas. We convert him to Sugar and Coffee. And at the very, very end, he grabs onto a rope swing, Tarzan style, and swings across the set. And the first time we filmed it, he came in a little too hot. He launched himself too hard on the rope swing, slammed into the side of the set wall, shook the whole set, and everybody was crying laughing. There was not a dry eye in that building because everyone was laughing so hard, they were sobbing. It was so funny because he was just pinballing back and forth from this set wall to this set wall. He's swinging back and forth. He's dressed as Miss Piddlin. The music is going. We're dancing. We're hopping on the trampoline. It's absolute chaos. It was chaos in real life. It was chaos watching it at home. It was so funny. It was so funny. So that was probably my favorite Sugar and Coffee moment. But before I wrap this up, I was going to go through some of the memorabilia here. This was a doll that somebody gave me. Gosh, I don't remember who gave this to me. It had to have been like maybe Giovanni or somebody. But it was a Barbie that was like naturally dressed in my Sugar and Coffee outfit. She had like the blue jacket. She had like the pigtails with like the reddish blondish hair. Show her up here. You see right there? Yeah. So that's my Caffey Barbie doll. And obviously I got my Kids' Choice Award right here. Here's a picture of just me individually with all the cast members. You can see that. And then this is a picture of all of us, and it's signed. This is signed by Gio, me, Shane, Jamie Lynn, Ryan Coleman, yes, Chelsea Brown, Kyle Sullivan, Christina Kirkman, Jack DeSena. I'll hold that up a little bit so you guys can see that. Love them so much. Can I put it back up without it falling? I can? I can't. I can't. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode, this very special episode. Again, like I said, try to find the video on YouTube or Spotify. It's been real. All that was 4 of the greatest years of my life. And gosh, I just love talking about it. So maybe I'll do another one. Maybe I'll do like a slumber party special in a couple weeks or something like that. But anyway, thank you guys for not only watching the show, but for watching all that and being fans of all that and supporting me and my cast. Love you so much. Okay, bye. Mwah. Say goodbye, Kyle. Bye. It's not what he sounded like at all. Bye, guys. Kind of more like that, actually.